Hey Scorpio, what's going on? We are starting off with Two of Swords and we also have Two of Cups. Starting off with Two of Swords puts you in the position where there can be a decision that needs to be made, or it can indicate that you need to see something that you're not seeing yet, like you may not be seeing something clearly. So whether this is you looking at something and you're just not seeing all the information, or there's a choice that you've been putting off making, it's going to be something like that. The swords on this Two of Swords reminds me of like a pirate ship so much. I don't know what it is. Like, I've seen these cards before, but there's something that's just feeling like a bit of a pirate energy here. I don't know what that means, but that's immediately what I thought of when I saw these today. So the card coming after it is Two of Cups. Twos are connected with choices where it's either going to be like bring something together or pull something apart. That's really the only way that it can go when you have something like this. But maybe you're not sure which direction that is for you to be going in. Because this can be like, I'm having a hard time even seeing myself within this decision. I feel like you're trying to communicate with yourself here and be like, what do I do? But you can feel like you're not picking up on a signal. When I think about pirates, I think about, among other things, I think about kind of like freedom and doing things on your own terms and kind of like living life how you want to be living it, and that you're the one that's determining that. So maybe there's something here about needing to get in touch with that side of yourself that can be more bold and more brave and decisive and taking charge even. That can be something that's coming up. I feel like this is one of those times too when you can be like waiting for your higher self to call you to give you the guidance on this, and it can just feel like you're not getting that call right now. Trying to pick up on the feeling, but almost like you can't feel it. Yeah, it's like, you know, the pirate movies with, who's in it? Orlando Bloom, you know those movies, and Keira Knightley. So in one of them, the pirates they like try to eat the apple but can't taste the apple because they're like actually dead, and so basically like they don't have the actual feeling. I get that like something is going on with the Page of Cups, which feels like normally you'd be able to pick up on this and feel it, but it's almost like as soon as you go to touch it, like your hand going through it. But it has to do with something that you're feeling about what's going on here and what the right direction is for you to move in. Two of Cups, when it comes up, is going to mean, especially connected with Two of Swords, am I going to make the choice that feels like I'm on the same page with myself and in unison we are all agreeing about that? Or am I going to make the choice that I will be kind of like abandoning myself in some way in order to be making that choice? And those are the two directions that you can go in when it comes to this. And then like, what is my feeling telling me about this? Like, if I go this way, is that breaking me apart from myself, or is that bringing me closer with myself? Which way is the right way? Maybe there's something about yourself that you're not totally clear on right now. It's like, if you don't really know what you want, what you're going to feel happy with, what you need, what feels right for you, how are you going to know it? How are you going to recognize it when something's in front of you, whether it is that or not? Because I'm seeing something having to do with Six of Pentacles, which means that, let's say this is about you and another person, okay? It doesn't have to be, but we're just using this as an example. If this is you and another person, you can be like, I don't know if there's reciprocity there. Like, I don't know if this is mutual. I don't know if what they're bringing to the table I can feel fulfilled with. But you may not know either way when it comes to this Two of Swords. Like, you cannot be getting enough of a feeling on this. I'm seeing Taurus and I'm seeing Aquarius here. You can be not getting enough of a feeling on this. I don't know. Do you need more information? In a way, with the Page of Cups, I feel like there are feelings going on around this that you can maybe pick up on, but maybe you just still feel like you're not sure. Maybe something is too young, or like meaning not developed enough within the energy for you to get a good grasp on this. Because I feel this thing of like, well, this feels like the difference between, is this going to be something that feels sustainable to you, or is it not going to be? But with that Two of Swords, like, do you know already, but you just don't want to see it and you don't want to make a choice about it? Or do you like genuinely, you're not sure? We're going to move some things around. If this is a dynamic with another person, maybe something feels hard about the dynamic that you have with them, like specifically the interaction and the way that like you give energy and they give energy, and you receive energy and they receive energy. There's like something about that specific part about your dynamic with them that I feel like is just, there's something challenging about it. And it can be something tiring, and it can be something that you feel like it takes a lot of work as well. But still almost feels like I don't know whether this is like good enough or whether this works or not for me. It reminds me of that saying about trying to get water out of a rock. If I'm butchering that, apologies, but it feels something like that, where this may be an instance where it's really hard for you to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish here, but I feel maybe like there's a possibility, and that can be something that, like, getting to that point of seeing this clearly, you can feel like you're not totally there yet. Like, is this just hard and I need to work for it and then I'm going to be happy with what I get at the end? Or is this like something that legitimately doesn't work? What is it? I don't really know. I'm not seeing anything either way right now. Especially if you're not clear on what you need and you're not clear on what they need. That can be something that you're not sure about. It's like, does this work or not? I want to say this again, having Page of Cups here, I get this sense like you have feelings about this, but you can feel out of touch with those feelings that you're having about this, and that can feel why you're not totally sure about the direction to go in. So it doesn't feel like you're not getting messages about this. It seems like you are, but it can be something where it's just you're not 100% receptive right now. For some of you, you also feel like this person doesn't need you, and that can be something that feels complicated. I don't know what that's about, but that message is coming through. Like, maybe it's like wanting to build a sense of connection, but I'm also seeing there simultaneously be stuff about independence here. Which maybe also feels like it contradicts things at times that you're trying to figure out right now. For some of you too, this person that you're dealing with, I mean, this can be a reflection of you too. You can feel like they're really set in their ways. And you can be trying to figure out whether that's like actually the way that they really are, or if they'll be like flexible and be able to bend when it comes to certain things and like compromise, or if they will just like remain uncompromising and they can't, you know, we can like be flexible to a certain degree. Like we have that baseline and then we can be flexible, but you can't be more flexible than you actually are. Like there's a limitation to how far that can go, and that can be something that you're not totally sure about either when it comes to this situation. Like maybe just how flexible things can be until you get to the point where you're at the limit of the flex. You may not know, and you may not have hit that boundary yet. I do definitely see there being mutual feelings, but I get like you may have something going on with your Venus and their Venus. There may be something going on with their Taurus energy. There can even just be something going on with, I don't know, like the way that I'm seeing this be is that I don't know if you have enough common ground with this person. That can be the thing that makes this challenging. And I don't know if this is something that you can end up resolving. But I'm not seeing it say no. I'm not seeing it say yes. I'm just like, don't really know. But maybe this is one of those situations where it's like there will always be tension when it comes to this particular thing with them. I'm just getting it like not be easy with the two of you. Maybe even in a way that you're like, this is so, at this stage, it shouldn't maybe be this complicated. Maybe you're thinking that too. But I'm also, you know, your nature is like, you're not going to back down from something just because it's challenging. I think it's just like needing to calculate just how challenging this actually is, and especially whether it's worth working on and working for, because you're going to get some sort of result versus wasting your time. Not that anything's a waste of time, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you don't want to get to the end and be like, this isn't what I was looking for it to be, and I wish I was spending my time doing something else, you know, rather than this. So that can also be something that you're thinking about too. Just feel right now, like, as far as where you feel like you need to be and where you're going, you can feel like this is stopping you right now from going where you need to be going. That this is making it very challenging to go in the direction that you're meant to be going in. And I don't know if this just means you need to be more flexible within the dynamic with this person and let whatever is going to happen. Like, I don't know, maybe you're trying to be like figuring things out right now where it's just not time to do that. Maybe you're like trying to get answers when it's not time to have those answers yet. But are you willing to do that? Because you know you can go into some situations that are going to be more of a sure thing. This doesn't feel like a sure thing to me. I don't know which way this is going to go at the end of the day. But I do feel like some foundational differences with you and this person where, I don't know, maybe you guys don't see eye to eye in certain ways, and maybe that's something that you're trying to figure out if you can live with that or not. And you may not be 100% on that. Like, maybe this comes back to you asking, like, how flexible can I be? While still being genuine and still being truthful. You know, about like what works or what doesn't, because you don't want to be like so flexible to the point where you're then getting depleted because you're not getting what you need, you know, like it's not sustainable for you. So I think there's a need for you to actually ask yourself, like, how flexible can you be while still feeling like relatively comfortable, rather than flexible. It's like, can you flex and bend, or are you pushing yourself to the limit of breaking because that's out of your range? You know, like, does it get to a point where it's inappropriate for you to be doing that? And also with this other person too. And I think that's the bigger question here to ask, because it's not like like where your baseline and your flexibility is. There's nothing wrong with that, and same, there's nothing wrong with this other person and where they are, but I don't know if it like totally goes together, and that can be something that you're in the process of figuring out, but you still don't know. But I'm definitely for sure seeing tension. It's kind of like, as much as you're trying to fit like the puzzle, your puzzle piece with this person's puzzle piece, and like make it go together so it just like completes the picture with the two of you, I just get it, like there's just so much clashing that keeps happening with the two of you, where it doesn't feel easy. But that doesn't mean you're not going to be able to get it to fit, or you can't learn to like live with this. You can, but I think the question is like, do you want to? Is that kind of like the lifestyle that you want to live in the dynamic with this person? Because I'm seeing it be like you maybe have less in common than you do have more in common. It's not like you have nothing in common with this person, but I definitely get some like very big differences, to the point where it can kind of feel uncomfortable trying to fit your energy together with this person. Kind of like it's too unfamiliar is what it feels like. Maybe this has to do with, I don't know, it's like I don't feel like you and this person are cut from the same cloth. That's the feeling that I get. But again, that doesn't mean that something can't work, but it's going to mean that your experience with them can be a lot of attention and then trying to find ways to like problem solve the puzzle, versus a situation that may much more easily coalesce. And I think that's really the question of what you want. Like, do you want the thing that feels like there's maybe like more compatibility, more overlap, more overlay? Or do you want this, which is going to be work, but it's not a bad thing. It's really just a preference at the end of the day of what you want. And like, can you learn to live with this? Because this can even be something too where it's like, you have one religion and this other person has another religion, and it's not to say that one religion is right and one is wrong, but they may be different, and y'all are not going to end up agreeing because that's what they believe and this is what you believe, and you do not agree with like the other, like you don't believe what the other person believes. And so it's like, can you live with that? And it's just an example, probably not the situation that most of you guys are in, but it's going to be something like that, where it's like something that's foundational to you and things that are foundational to this other person. There's not a whole lot of overlap when it comes to certain things that feel prominent, significant, and important. And so the question is like, can you learn to live with that? Or are you denying parts of yourself, trying to be flexible to the point where you're going to break because that's not in your range? And same with the other person and like the expectation, because like as much as we want things to work, we're not always compatible, and that just is what it is. There's compromise, but compromise can only bend to a certain point. It can only stray so far from the baseline of what it actually is, meaning from the baseline of its nature. You can only get something to bend so much. So I think that's ultimately the question here, but it's not saying like anything in particular needs to happen. I think it's just finding out more information to figure this out one way or the other, but I don't know that you have enough information yet. You may not be at that point, like you haven't seen enough yet to know. I don't think that I think that things are going to stay like moderately challenging with you and this person, just because of the foundational differences that you guys have with one another. But as I said before, that doesn't mean that something can't work, but that is going to be the nature of your dynamic with this person. And is that something that you want? And maybe even just recognizing that can help you come to terms. You know, if this is something you want to stay in, it's like we're going to have tension about these things, and we're going to have clashing about these things, and I'm okay with that. Or you can look at this and be like, I don't want it to feel like this all the time, and I want a relationship that feels more in flow and more harmonious. And this is lacking that, and I'd rather have a different type of experience. And so that can maybe change your expectation of the dynamic with this person. I feel too like you could have different love languages as well. You could relate to your emotions very differently too. Like if your moon sign is very different than this person's moon sign, there can be something going on with that if they are like not in harmony with one another or not in a place of understanding with one another. For some of you, your moon can be in conjunct to this person's moon, which means that there's like a lack of relating that you can have with them. That can be something that you experience too. It's like a lack of relating, a lack of common ground. So it can be difficult to understand. And this can be something going on just with personal placements in general with them. Don't drive yourself crazy trying to figure this out. I think the more that I think you just need to keep listening to this situation and see what it tells you if you're willing to ride on the ride for longer. The ride that is this relationship. Like if you're willing to just be going down the path of this right now, there's a need for you to ease up and let it speak to you because it's going to tell you. And I think you can be learning more about yourself and your values through this process and what's compatible with it and what's not. And what you can compromise for in a way that feels authentic versus what is a compromise that has you having to like separate from yourself in order to show up. I feel like there's a lot of like spiritual energy and lessons that can be learned from what's playing out with you and this person. Like overall, it seems like you have to just let go and see what's going to happen. But if you're at a point where you want to know 100%, I don't think that it's at that point where you can really tell. So what that means is that you're going to have to be flexible to see where this goes. Or you can say, I don't want to be on a path like that. I want to be on a path where I like know more for sure. And then that's going to tell you what that's going to tell you. But it's really just all up to you and what you want to be doing here. This is definitely meant to tell you more about yourself and what your non-negotiables are. And if something is getting in the way of where you need to be, highlighting that. Yeah, it's like you don't know what's going to be happening. You don't know where things are going to go. You don't know which like future you're going to be having. I think that you can see like it could go this way or it could go that way, but I don't know which one of those tracks I'm going to be on. I'm still unsure about it. Still in the process of discerning all of this. I do see there being like connection obviously between you and this person. There's definitely connection there. Emotional connection. I'm wondering for some of you if you've been getting, like, feeling triggered when it comes to the dynamic with this person. That's something to pay attention to because although it's not personal, when Five of Swords comes out, it can sometimes have us withholding our energy because we feel misunderstood by the other person and we feel like if we don't protect our energy that we're going to be taken advantage of. Well, is taken advantage of the right word? It's like if you're not paying really close attention to the exchanges that you have with this person, you can feel like you know that there is not equality within the flow, so you have to pay very close attention, and then that can have you on guard. It's like if you have a situation with somebody where there's just reciprocity and you know it's like a guarantee with that person, you just always have good flow with them, you don't have to be paying extra special attention to what's going on because you know everybody's going to break even at the end of the day. But this seems like a situation where it doesn't feel like it breaks even, and so you have to pay extra special close attention to this. And that can be something that you feel very, very focused on. And is that something that you want to be doing? Where you constantly have to be babysitting this energy. Because then it can have you be like, did they take too much this time? Or am I giving too much? Or are they really valuing what I'm showing up with? You know, it's like all of these things. To tell you something. To tell you that that flow isn't there with you and this person. As I said before, it doesn't mean that things can't work with them. It's just like, is that the nature of do you want a relationship with that type of nature where it is now with them? But maybe there's also hope that things can maybe like move better with you and this person, that things can develop and you can kind of like grow together with them, which seems like is a possibility. But you do have to surrender if you want to see this through. And that's for sure. And that can be something that feels difficult for you to do. I think too, like, you guys both may want different things a little bit. Like in a foundational, this doesn't feel like in a superficial type of way. This feels like in a foundational type of way. You guys may want different things, and that can be part of why this feels like it's not working all the time, or it only works sometimes. Feels like more accurately the way that this is. It's like you can feel really happy with them, and it can also feel really stressful being in the dynamic with them simultaneously. It can be both of those things. It just seems like kind of an extreme situation. But maybe that's also something that you feel comfortable with, you know? Like, maybe there's a part of you that you're not gravitating towards something that's more settled. Which just is what it is. So, yeah. With that being said, overall, this feels like the encouragement is just for you to keep paying attention and keep gathering information, and I think eventually you're going to get to a point where you're going to know which way you're going to go with this. But it just doesn't seem like it's the time yet, and if you're okay spending more time doing this, eventually you're going to get the information you need. I don't know when that's going to be. Alright guys, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting and tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.